Vidit, when you were 6 years old, your father took you to Gymkhana Club. There were sports like badminton, table tennis, chess. How did you gravitate towards chess?
My dad parents were doctors and they were quite busy. So, and I was throwing a lot of tantrums in the house. They thought, okay, he should be engaged in something, so it's something creative. Um, and my dad used to play chess at home with me. So I enjoyed that, but I was losing. But when I went to Gymkhana, I actually had gone for cricket like every other Indian kid. But they said that I'm like, when I was young, I was very fragile looking, like I was very tiny. They said that they play with the season ball and I might get injured. So they said, okay, pick another sport. And as I used to play chess with my dad at home, I thought, okay, this is a good chance to learn and beat him. That was the motivation of a 6-year-old, and not like I had something big planned. But it worked out really well.
So when you were 8 years old, your parents made sure that you compete in under 10, under 12, and open age categories. How much did competing against opponents or elder to you shape you as a player?
So yeah, I think it was very important that I received this support from my parents because I did well initially, and they kept pushing me to take me to better level of tournaments. Um, and as I was winning, it was very easy for them to say, okay, keep playing in your same age group and keep winning. That's what I wanted to do. Why would I want to face someone stronger where I know that I have a chance to lose? But they're like, no, this is where the growth will happen. And I specifically remember one tournament where uh, I was playing where there was an age group tournament and an open tournament where there is no age limit. Um, in the age group tournament, I was sure that I would win it because I knew my colleagues and I had won many games with them before. But they were like, no, this is not a challenge. You have to play in open. I played in the open. I did not win that tournament, whereas my colleagues won the age group tournament. So I felt very bad at that point. Like I missed out on a chance. But they had a long-term vision. They knew that I have to keep challenging myself, keep playing against better opposition. That's the only way for long-term growth. So thank God for their vision, that they understood that this is very important to keep challenging. It's if you stay in your comfort zone, improvement will not happen.
So when you were 9 years old, you wrote in your balcony, I'm going to be a national youth champion, Asian youth champion, and world youth champion. So what is the power of subconscious mind or the power of visualization in sports?
That's a good question. Actually, I don't know why I wrote it in my balcony. It was just one afternoon. I specifically remember that I went there and it just came from my heart that I wrote it because I probably wanted it so badly. And I had tried a national championship before that, and I finished 63rd or something like this. So you can imagine that it was very painful. And then Asians, I don't remember if I had played before that, but I had this inner urge that I want to do it, like I want to win this, and I just wrote it down. And then my parents, I think, found out about it much later. They did not see it initially; they only found out later. Um, I think somehow it helped me, this writing it down. And later on in the years, when I was like around 18 or 20, I again did that. Not on the wall though. This time I was more civilized and I wrote down in my notepad that I want to achieve XYZ. And somehow I feel like our subconscious mind is much more powerful at times than our logical mind. Sometimes you're with some person, you just know that something is off, let's say, or something is good, like there is this vibe, but you cannot explain it rationally. Or you're working with someone, you just know that that person is upset with you. He might not say anything, but you can sense it. And it's the same when it comes to other areas of life as well. Your subconscious knows it sometimes better than your conscious mind. Like even when we play like in chess 1 minute game or something, it's just our reflexes taking over and not our thinking. Of course it's there, but the pattern recognition happens so fast in your mind that you don't even know how it has happened. So it definitely helps. And now I think I should do it again. It's high time that I start writing it down again.
So
But I
for
feel it has to come from deep within, not done half-heartedly.
So from the age of 14 to 18 was a difficult phase in your career. You're close to becoming a grandmaster. How important is to get the right support at the right time for a player?
Um, it's very, very important. Um, I still vividly remember that I think around 14 or so, I was already 2500 rated chess player. And that means that you have fulfilled one of the criteria to become a grandmaster. So I was this close. But at that point, I was unable to travel to Europe quite a bit because it's very expensive. And to get those grandmaster norms, I have to play against those players where in India, those tournaments were not happening. Um, so that was a hurdle. And the only way to do it for me was to play in India. And there was another hurdle, which was the psychological block. Because when you want something so bad, when you come this close, you kind of panic if you don't get it. And it kept happening. I think I missed out on my grandmaster norm like 8 or 9 times by half a point. Even on my birthdays, I remember one tonight I did not make it. So it was a psychological block plus this problem of expenses or the funding. Thankfully, I think around that time, Lakshya Sports, they helped me. I was, I think, one of the first first few athletes who they supported, and I'm very grateful for that because I remember I had a training camp with a Russian grandmaster who was at one point even a coach of Kasparov, and we had a training session, and in Pune, I specifically remember the next tournament I went immediately from there, I scored my grandmaster norm. So I could immediately see the effect of an experienced trainer coming in and helping me solve both the psychological block and Lakshya helping me with the funding. So uh, it was a good, what to say, I was blessed to have that.
In one of your recent interviews, you said, I'm able to handle big moments now better because I worked on the psychological aspects. Now, elite athletes like you work with sports psychologists. So, what are the mental aspects of the game a mental conditioning coach can help a player with?
So at the top level, the thing which differentiates a player um, is not just the game anymore because we all have played X number of games, like thousands of games, 10 thousands of games in practice and in real life. Uh, we have seen the similar number of existing matches which have happened. We have been exposed to that. We are playing kind of the similar tournaments. But at that point, what differentiates is the little things like your physical fitness. How are you handling the pressure? How mentally tough you are, because at times a sport can really test you. How you handle the crunch situations. So that's where the difference becomes. So if between world number one and world number five, the strength wise difference might be there, of course, but it might not be the only reason why they are there. These aspects make a huge role, and I started working on it for a couple of years. So through Lakshya, I met a sports psychologist, and I've been working with her for many years now, and I think it has helped me. I feel an improvement over my mental state. So yeah, I would really advise people to take it and you have to be patient with it because our mental what to say habits, or in general our habits are so ingrained that it takes time to change. Because let's say a person is angry, it's not like the next day they stop being angry. It's a gradual process. So it's the same with sports conditioning also. But yeah, through Lakshya I met a sports psychologist, and they have been helping me with that for many years already.
You read a lot of books, you have a library at home. How has reading helped you as a player and in your decision making process?
I don't know if it has had a direct correlation, but I'm sure it has had a relation because when you read, I like to read non-fiction mainly because one of the motives is to learn something. It's like if I read somebody's autobiography, it's like their life's learning of 40 years in like 200 pages. And I can read that in 2 days and then I'll know what they have learned in their life. And I try to apply it. Of course, the only learning happens when I apply it in life. Otherwise, it's just empty knowledge. But it helps. It helps to see new perspective. Like I read Nadal's book at one point, and he was telling his routine. I read about Michael Phelps, how he was training, how rigorous it was. And apart from that, also I read a lot about spirituality or other self-help books where, just when you want to be a better version of yourself. So I think it helps you shape your personality and your personality reflects in the game. So I think that's the relation.
Vidit, you've been meditating for more than 900 days. So how has meditation helped you in high pressure situations?
Um, I was meditating before as well, but probably not in a correct way. Um, but since 2.5 years, I made it a practice to do it every single day. So I remember there have been days where I've had viral fever and I can't even sit straight, but I'll just do it anyways and get those minutes in, because that's the habit I want to build. I also feel like once you have a habit, you know that you can control your mind, you can discipline it. Um, and now I think it has been 930 days where I have not missed a single day. So I think it's close to 2.5 years, something like this. Uh, so I think it helps me build discipline, first of all. And secondly, um I think the guided meditation helps me on target specific areas like improving concentration or trying to handle stress better. So I think, yeah, when I use Black Lotus, I go for the targeted meditation at times, but many times I just do my own practice, which will help me in the game as well.
Recently, you're part of the Global Chess League. Some of the greats of the game, Magnus, Carlsen, Vishwanathan, Anand, were part of the league. Can you share the experience of your Global Chess League?
I think Global Chess League was a fantastic tournament for many reasons. If you imagine when IPL happened back in 2007 or 8, I don't remember the exact year. Uh, it started off relatively small compared to where it is now. But it showed what is the possibility that can be done with the sport. It can be really huge. And this was, I think, a beginning when it comes to chess. The finals, for example, which happened in Global Chess League, was so intense that everybody was on the edge of their seat. It kept like they kept going to tie. It was so much nervous, so much tension. So it just showed that chess can be a thriller of a sport. Um, and they came up with some new formats which will make it more spectator friendly. So I think it has huge potential. I already kind of got to know that all the team which signed up wanted to happen for the next year. Like they have already committed for all the next few years, and they are not ready to go. So leave this chess field is what I mean. So they are completely engrossed, and I feel new people who come into this game, they'll realize that there's huge potential, and that's what this one tournament showed.
And with the Asian Games around the corner, India's got a very strong team. Which are the countries that will challenge India in the Asian Games?
Yeah, Asian Games. I'm very excited, first of all, to play because it's my first time playing in Asian Games. Chess is usually not included in Asian Games or Olympic Games. So it's going to be my first experience, staying in this village. Although I've played World Cup and all these chess events, but not part of this Olympic Games or Asian Games. So that's something new for me. Regarding countries, I feel China is for sure one of the main competitors. They are good in all sports. I was checking table tennis also. They have like top five in of China. They're really good in all sports. But China, then there's Uzbekistan, who have been having a very young squad. Uh, Iran is one of the countries, and of course, I think India is favorite as well. But if you have to look at competitors, these three come to my mind right now.
Thank you for your time, Vidit.
Thank you so much.